How do you see, I guess, traditional academia functioning into the digital future?
Well, that's a tough question to answer. I have 2 college-age kids. They are now both doing study abroad. Mm-hmm. I was not wildly enthusiastic about them going to college because I now view college as such a mixed bag. Mm-hmm. You know, if you go to college without a good plan for avoiding nonsense, you can very well come out stupider than you went in. Mm-hmm. And, you know, isn't that mind-blowing? In 2024, college is a place that might make you stupider.
Yeah.
Right? So, anyway, that's a problem.
Yes, definitely.
That said, education does not have to be done in a college environment. Historically, you know, it's interesting that research and education have been housed in the same place. And there is a natural relationship, but it's not a one-to-one relationship. What technology does to the entire process is really unclear, and how durable it is. We imagine that technological progress will just simply continue. That is a utopian notion, given the number of unsustainable feedbacks that are involved. And yes, these things do tend to be replaced by something in time to preserve the overall system, but I'm ever more convinced that there's a story of our planet that we don't really know, and that because we have lived in a period in which there has been more or less progress consistently throughout what we call history, we think that's the automatic state of affairs. But it may not be, and I do think people need to have more experience and develop skills relative to the physical world so that if this is a process that actually ebbs and flows, we are not left so vulnerable to the fact that we don't know how to do anything for ourselves.
Yeah, it's a tricky one too. Because, you know, for the past even 10 years, it was all computer programming, right? Everyone just learned how to engineer, learn how to program. That's the way to the future. And now almost overnight, it seems like this AI thing is just like, no, actually don't do that. Don't do that. AI will handle that.
Which I'm not actually convinced of.
I'm not either, but I'm just using it as an illustration of how quickly the perception can change at least. Now the reality, who knows what the reality is, but the conventional wisdom of everyone go program, and now it's like, oh, maybe everyone.
Well, but I think you can extrapolate a little bit. Used to be, the first computers were programmed by physically plugging cables from one port to another. That's a binary system. You then have machine language. You then have languages that require a compiler. Then you have languages that don't require a compiler. Now we have LLMs. Who is in a position to instruct an LLM in the building of a program to accomplish an objective? It seems to me that a programmer who understands what it is that the LLM has to do is in a much better position to get the LLM to do it and to know if it has been done than somebody who doesn't have that experience. So I'm wondering if there's not a retooling that would be reminiscent of one of these prior jumps where people who really understand the process that, you know, from the era they've just emerged from are in the best position to guide the next phase.
Yeah, well, I feel like we've come all the way back to the reciprocal reconstruction thing at the beginning of the conversation. It's just but the reality is changing so fast. I'm reminded of this E.O. Wilson quote. He says something like, the problem with human beings is we have Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, godlike technologies. And the technologies are just changing so quickly now. Well, we're having institutional disruption, or at least distrust, right? That things are coming to light now in the new media paradigm of the internet and social media that had not been in the light for many decades previous. And so you have these godlike technologies disrupting the medieval institutions, stirring up all these Paleolithic emotions.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, what could possibly go? And so, and you said, as you said earlier, right? Like radical change. Well, evolution doesn't do that, right? Evolution's incremental change typically, but there is the punctuated equilibrium sometimes, right? Where it changes rapidly.
Not a huge fan of punctuated equilibrium as a model, but there is something to it. Evolution does not have a constant rate. But I would point out, even if you take the idea that evolution does not generally engage in radical change, we are the products of evolution, and we do engage in radical change. So, I sometimes... You'll hear evolutionists claim that evolution cannot look forward. It can only look backward.
Right.
That's true in a sense, but it's also false, right? And you can tell it's false because...
Is that the same argument that it's not teleological? It's not purpose-driven?
Yeah, but I guess I can do the two of them at once.
Okay.
You can look forward, right?
I think so.
Let's say you give your children guidance based on the world you expect them to live in. That guidance may be poor, it may be great, but you are definitely looking forward for the purpose of properly arming your kids for the world they're going to live in. So you can look forward. Evolution built you to do that. So in what way can evolution not look forward? If it can build a mechanism to look forward, it can look forward, right? Likewise, purpose. I have long argued that all evolved creatures have the identical purpose from each other, all of them. And that means it's a pretty terrible purpose.
Get into the future?
Yeah, get into the future as far as you can, by whatever means necessary. And that will include things like, putting people in gas chambers, right? Do you want to be downstream of a process that will cause you to put people into a gas chamber because that's how your genes are going to end up in the future?
Was that really...
Sure.
Did that help? Did that, you're extinguishing another competing strategy, basically.
Hey, shocking, right? So my feeling is I don't want any part of a program that might have me manning a gas chamber. Right. Even if that's evolutionarily the right thing to do, I am out. Right. I am not a robot who is going to enact such a program. So my point is, if you have the same purpose as malaria, get into the future. But you have been equipped to get into the future with a value system, an ability to conjure realities that haven't existed, right? If you've been given all of the architecture of compassion and beauty and insight, if all of those are tools, means to an end, get into the future, you are also capable of supplanting that evolutionary objective, that program, and deciding on a better one. In other words, this is the moment at which the tools that we have been awarded have to stage a revolution against the mindless program that has us doing whatever's necessary to get into the future. And ironically, that is how we're going to get into the future. Either that or we're going to fail and go extinct.
Right. No, it's well said. That I forgot the name of the book, but talked about how evolution basically explores the search space immediately around it, right?
The adjacent possible.
But you typically can't see as far into the future as the thinking, innovative, purpose-driven animal can. And so we can enhance our own evolution. I guess that's higher risk, higher reward. We could also go the wrong way, right?
Yeah,
we could take
that is what we're doing. And that's why we have these tools.
Right. So
we are better at this because we can imagine what might be possible and then explore in a reasoned way.
Yes. So then imagination becomes basically our superpower.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money, and be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.